The content discussed in this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and should not be construed as financial or mortgage advice. Always consult with a licensed professional before making any decisions regarding mortgages or financial matters.
Welcome to the Canadian Mortgage Show. Here are mortgage professionals Alex Pang and Alex Shanks to cut through the BS and educate Canadians on all things mortgages and real estate.
Toronto has now seen 4 straight years of declining house prices, something that we haven't seen since the late 80s and the early 90s. Now, again, this is like there's pockets. Like not every single place in Ontario has gone down, but Toronto and like the Golden Horseshoe area, like there's definitely some larger drops, and it's year over year. And a lot of it is due because of pre-construction. Like we do have to realize that, like a lot of people that are not closing on places, and then it's just the places that were bought 400, 500,000 over asking that maybe should they've only have gone 200,000. Like that's where especially skewed the data for sure.
Welcome to episode 70 of the Canadian Mortgage Show. Alex Shanks here. Oh, Alex Pang here, alongside my partner, Alex Shanks. We've been doing this so long, I'm calling myself Alex Shanks.
It's just Alex and Alex, man. We can just say Alex and see if everyone realizes who's talking.
Yeah, awesome. How are you doing, man? You're a little congested. You're not feeling too well.
You can see my throat's gone a little bit. I do have some fisherman friends for people, so if I always say, and it's, I mean, on our job for me and Alex, we do a podcast, we talk a lot and we talk to clients a lot. My voice gets kind of destroyed, and so yeah, need the fisherman friends.
Yeah, speaking of which, I'm actually a little bit under the weather myself. I've had a sore throat for a little bit, phlegmy throat, and I got my hot water here, so my folks.
Your voice is going to be destroyed next week, man. It's going to be gone.
Oh yeah, the reason being, if for those of you on the video side, I'm wearing a Seahawks hat, and I am going to go to the game. By the time this goes out, I'm going to go to the game on Saturday, and yeah, I mean, speaking, we're both NFL fans here. Like, let's talk about it. Did we go? We're both Seahawks guys. Did we go through the emotional roller coaster? I'm like, it could have been the Panthers. Oh, hey, we could have faced them. Oh, it could have been Green Bay. Oh, it's probably going to be the Rams. Oh, wait, San Fran's going to win.
I mean, that's where like I think yeah, playing 49ers, I think it's a good one. Their team is beat up, but like it scares me. Like I mean, they have been gritty, so it's scary that way. But I think the Hawks have a really good chance all around this year.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
I mean, very easily see them in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the betting odds are. I'm obviously. Let's not look ahead. Knock on wood. Yeah, I mean, I don't like, even though the betting odds right now are we're like around 7-point favorites. Seahawks are. I'm not expecting our defense to hold San Fran to 3 points again. Like it's gonna be. It'll probably be a closer game than the betting odds. Like I still think that we're gonna win. San Fran is depleted enough that yes, they were able to beat Philly. And you know what? Even though I'm a Seahawks fan, I feel bad for George Kittle. Season-ending Achilles. I've seen that. It sucks. I mean, like, but because of that, I don't think there's enough for San Fran to beat Seahawks. I mean, as long as we've always talked about it, as long as our defense remains elite, we pound the ground with the run game. Sam Darnold does not make any interceptions. He doesn't need to play hero ball. He just plays solid within his means. Don't need to go for big plays. And you know what? I'm okay with just being a game manager. Just win the turnover battle, right? And then we should win. Like some people are saying, we could blow them out, or it could be a close game. It could go either way. Like, where do you feel this game's going to be?
I feel like it's gonna be a close game. I don't think it's gonna be I mean, my fear is like, I like that we had a bye week, but I also don't like that the players get to like their rest and you're like, oh, we got this. And so sometimes it's the people that are like the underdogs that have way more fight going into them, which that is the 49ers right now.
Yeah, I don't like overconfidence because it's the rest versus rust thing, right? Like, that team's rolling and then we had a week off, which is good for injury. But at the same time, if the other team is rolling, feeling good, even though they're like a barnyard dog that's stuck in a corner. So I think it'll be a closer game than the odds are suggesting. So, well,
are you going tailgating and everything?
I don't know. It really depends on the time of the game, because it's, it's all about ratings. So the game's either going to be 1:30 or 5 p.m. Local time here in the Pacific. So we'll probably be tailgating because it's going to be a 3-hour drive for us there. We're not going to stay the night. It's just going to be a day trip for us. Yeah, we'll probably do some tailgating, hit up the bars.
Crazy, man. Well, I would either be catching the train or a bus if I was going. I wouldn't be driving there and back. I would be, yeah. I don't know if I'd be able to drive
I'm
after.
I'm the designated driver, so we're taking my brother-in-law's truck, and I offered to, like, you know what? We only have one car in the family, so I need to leave the car for my wife because I don't want to leave her stranded at home. So we're taking his truck. Um, and he said on the chat yesterday, "Fantastic. You drive, I drink." I'm like, "Wait till we cross the border, buddy. I don't want to be pulling up at the border. I'm like, hey, we're going to Seahawks game," and he's all drunk on the side. I'm like, I want to be let into the country.
Totally.
Yeah, so we better get started on the pod. Hey, this is a Canadian mortgage show. This is not the Seahawks talk.
Talk about football. Yeah, we're done. We're just gonna talk about football now.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so remember we talked about this end of December, probably December pod,
Yep.
about the positive job news, right? Hey, unemployment was down to 6.5%. We gained jobs. And what did you and I say? We call BS, right? We called bullshit on this.
Wasn't true.
It wasn't true, right? That the jobs were mostly for young people and they were all temporary part-time jobs. Well, we thought the news would come out in February that we were right. Christmas came a lot sooner for us in 2026.
Yeah, it came, and that's like, I mean, that honestly, that scares me to know what are the numbers going to be later here, because usually, like, I would have thought December would have still had some more part-time jobs being added and everything, but it rises again to 6.8, and so I mean that doesn't bode well. Now that does not change the money mark. Does not say that there's going to be a rate cut here now because of that change. But there's a lot less pressure. There was so much talks, like it was crazy. They were like, we're going to be increasing interest rates. I mean, I would have put a lot of money on it that was never going to happen. But we're now back down to 50%. And I'd put a lot of money that it's a hold here in January.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I've mentioned it several times on the pod here that we're probably going to be pausing all the way till the springtime, maybe, until Bank of Canada gets enough intel, enough reports saying, hey, the economy it's slowly bleeding out like we've all kind of expected. And there's no foreseeable progress on the tariff front. I mean, as long as Trump is in power, we'll talk about him later. As long as he's in power, the tariff thing is always going to be there. So, yeah, I mean,
And I mean, again, we also the U.S. unemployment, it rises again. It's at 4.4, which I'm actually surprised. It's actually lower than Canada, but also there's a lot more people in the U.S. But again, there's an even worse amount of jobs that they're losing and everything. It just means people, and big one in the U.S. is AI taking over jobs, and like we're gonna keep seeing that slowly more here in Canada, where bigger companies are gonna be laying people off as these jobs stop getting used.
yeah. And I mean, even here with their unemployment rising, I mean, this kind of harkens back to my forecast last week when I was mentioning how US is slated to make 3 more cuts from the Federal Reserve this year, whereas the rest of the world, Canada included, every other G7 nation is expected to raise rates by the end of the year. Now, both can't be right. And US is,
Yeah.
like it or not, it is the world's leading economy. So, like, if anything, I see us maybe not following the US, but either staying flat, maybe even dropping once or twice. Twice would be a stretch. I would say once if I was a betting man. Um, but yeah, that's kind of the leading indicator here. Now with Canada here, they kind of broke it down. We did add 8,200 jobs as a net, but over the last month, public sector, funny enough, they lost 6,000 jobs. Self-employment dropped by 12,500, and the private sector lost just under 43,000 jobs. That's a more bigger indicator than the whole 6.8 thing. I'm like, I want to know the difference in the public, private, self-employment sector. What do those look like?
Yeah, and it's again like This is where like the private at 42, like half of those were the part-time jobs probably. Like those were just all jobs that were going to go for a little bit and then they were all gone.
Yeah, yeah, and it's funny how this graph here that we're seeing here, um, it's already showing for December. So I can very well see when the numbers come in for January, it's like now officially all those part-time seasonal employees are have been back to being laid off again. So I can see.
Yeah, no, I'd be interested because again, this is for December. I feel like they're it's just going to be interesting. I'm this data, it surprised me. I didn't think we would see an increase in unemployment until, like I said, January, February here. And so it's already happened sooner.
So I mean, I'm not. This is not reaching out on a limb here, but I can very well see January the unemployment going up to 7%, and uh,
That's, I mean, if we hit 7% again, that's where like the bells are going to start going off for
yeah,
the Bank of Canada
yeah,
of like, ooh,
yeah,
that's what happened when we hit
and
7.1 before, they were freaking out.
and I can see where Bank of Canada gets off their butts and starts dropping rates will be if it hits the 7.5 to 8% range, right? As like it kind of trends what we were talking about, where once this artificial number comes back down and the economy kind of goes through this slow bleed, unemployment keeps creeping up. We're going to hear more news about companies laying off and stuff that we're going to touch on later. Once it hits 7.5, 8%, just like we said, you said it's going to increase. I'm like, no way in hell that's going to happen. So
No. And it's just, again, it's interesting though, like bonds, they today you could say they are up a little bit. We're still below what it was like 2.5 weeks ago on a high. But really there's no downward trajectory here happening, which even with like the job reports and stuff, just meaning that hey, variable rates could go lower or they're gonna stay the same. But hey, fixed is, we know it has gone up a little bit. And it's not going down at the moment.
yeah, so I'm looking at the 5-year bond right now, which kind of governs fixed rates. Um, last in December, when those positive job news, like the unemployment going down, it went up to what, 2.95 at one point on the bond yield. It's dropped back down to around 2.85. It's up to 2.87 today. We feel it's gonna slowly come back down.
Let's jump over to Toronto here, Alex. And I mean, this is some crazy information here. Toronto has now seen 4 straight years of declining house prices, something that we haven't seen since the late 80s and the early 90s. Now, again, this is like there's pockets. Like not every single place in Ontario has gone down, but Toronto and like the Golden Horseshoe area, like there's definitely some larger drops, and it's year over year. And a lot of it is due because of pre-construction. Like we do have to realize that like a lot of people that are not closing on places, and then it's just the places that were bought 400, 500,000 over asking that maybe should they've only have gone 200,000. Like that's where especially skewed the data for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Toronto relative to Vancouver is what, 2.5 times the size of population, you would say? Um,
Yeah.
yeah, they've experienced quite the cleansing. I mean, this is the largest decline since the rate hike cycle started in 2022. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, because of the sheer volume in overinflated pricing along not just the Toronto, but the more the 905 area out in the outskirts, like the Markhams, all the Scarboroughs out not outside of Toronto proper, when things would go 300,000 400,000 over asking, when you're buying a $2 million property out in, I don't know, name a Toronto suburb, like,
I
geez.
wouldn't want to say, I wouldn't, yeah, I don't know what Toronto suburbs are.
Yeah.
It's, I
For
mean,
us in the West
yeah,
Coast, I know a few, but you know what we mean. Like for us in
yeah,
BC, it's like you're buying a $2 million home out in Abbotsford. I'm like,
yeah.
that may be great, but that better be a acreage.
Yeah,
If
mine, it
if
must
you're
be,
doing
it
that.
better be like a fancy ass mansion.
Yeah. So this is essentially a fancy way of looking about how we've seen previous graphs where we've kind of erased the COVID gains. I mean, this is just um, you know, we know like last year, this is Toronto, but same thing here in BC in the lower mainland. Last year's sales was like the lowest in the last quarter century since
Yeah.
2000. It just shows what's been going on. You know what that means? Not so good for sellers, but good for buyers. Like we said that. Good for renters because there's more supply. Immigration has been shut off. Um, um, Sales are down. Prices have come down, and which is good if you're in the middle of buying. Deals
And
are
it's even just rents as well. Like it's like people are actually going to get lower rents and everything. We had Hassan on the podcast last week. Like, I mean, people are changing in the exact same apartments because they can get lower rents. Which, hey, as a renter, that's amazing. Obviously, as a landlord, that's not going to be great for you with your investment. But again, like that's where you need to be looking and hopefully be keeping your renters happy. If all you're doing is just trying to give them a lower price, I mean, they're just going to keep looking for the lowest price.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we shift gears here, which I was talking about immigration here. Now, the federal government announced that it's no longer going to accept new immigration sponsorships applications for grandparents and parents in 2026. I mean, we've always long lambasted the government for making too big of swings, like going from one end of the pendulum of opening up immigration of a million people coming in and largely being responsible by not having the infrastructure in place, which caused real estate to go up. Not just that, but low interest rates, all that. It was like a perfect storm.
Yeah.
And much to the public outcry, they've turned it off, thank goodness. But I don't know if I really agree about the immigration sponsorships. I guess they wanting to sweep everything as no immigration because it's been opened up for abuse. So it's kind of the thing where growing up in primary school, if someone gets in trouble, the whole class gets a detention kind of thing. I feel like that's kind of the temperature or the flavor of what this announcement is. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like, I understand it. Like, and again, I just believe we need to be better of like bringing the people that obviously need to come in. For one, like, are they refugees? Well, that's a different story here. That's why they're coming here. Or like, hey, they want to come here and immigrate, and it's because they have like the skills that need to be here. And we just fully turn everything off. I mean, I saw one content creators chart like immigration and our population has been increasing, which population needs to be going up. Well, since 2025, we're going down, and I mean that is going to have a massive effect for one our GDP and just our entire economy. If we don't have more people coming in, how is our costs going to be keep going?
Yeah, if anything, if our immigration is going to go down or our population is going to keep going down, guess what? Our property tax is going to go up, income tax is going to go up, but they're going to come up with increased revenue in some right, or we're going to lose some services. That's
Yeah.
that's basically honestly what's going to happen. I mean, this one I'm kind of like I'm kind of lukewarm on this one. Parents and grandparents. I mean, yes, you want to unite, you want families to be united, but at the same time, from a economic perspective, if they're not going to provide anything economically, and they're just
Yeah.
going to be, chances are they are going to be a strain on our medical system.
Yeah.
I mean, I would rather more money from, instead of going it out to foreign aid to build out our infrastructure, so we don't have to say no to parents and grandparents coming.
Yeah,
That kind of
that's that.
thing,
I think that's,
you
yeah,
know,
I think
like
that'd be like, hey,
yeah,
let's stop sending there and obviously increase our hospitals like we spoke about. But I mean, it's such a catch 22. Obviously, we want to make our place like make Canada better, but we also do have to help elsewhere. So it's a fine line of, and I just mean again, I just wish we had a bit of a checklist of where our money's going, what is it doing for us, and again, hey, are we just bringing the parents and grandparents just because hey they want to be able to bring money to Canada and they're actually not going to do anything here? Well, is that actually benefiting us?
yeah. This is almost seems like more of a whack-a-mole situation. Things pop up,
Yeah.
they're just going to sweep that, but it's really a symptom of a greater thing. So
Yes.
we'll see how that immigration file plays out when it comes to the overall economy here. Um, so here's an interesting tidbit here. Um, Canada had the number one performing stock market in 2025 of the 10 largest markets. Now, when you think Canada, do you think stock market, or do you or like, I don't think the TSX is my first. I always think the Nasdaq, the Dow Jones, S&P 500, all US based. And if you look at the graph here, Canada is number one. Now, based on market, largest stock markets by market cap. Okay. So market cap meaning how large the companies are. So my guess is what takes up a lot of this is the banks because they have a large market cap.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the profits. That's actually because me and you were talking about this after, and that just hit a point there, Alex. Because our banks this year, oh man, they've made some profits.
Oh yeah, exactly. So, but by market cap, so the companies we do have are all the legacy brands, like the big banks, Brooksfield too, um, Shopify. They'd become really, really, really big. Yeah, so I mean, it's outperformed, and then based on those, um, like just because they're largest stock markets doesn't mean that this doesn't mean it's the largest, the best return on
No,
the
this is
stock
not. This
exchange.
is not saying that it's been a 36% return. That's not what this is.
No.
That's definitely not what this is saying. Because, oh
Yeah,
man, we'd be having a lot more millionaires here right now if that was the
yeah,
case.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, I'm kind of surprised that Canada is up there as one of the largest stock markets, even though we're not seen as one of the places to invest your stocks. I mean, other than
Now,
the banks.
Now, talking about that, Alex, and I mean, we're reading the news and stuff. Like, we get a lot of negativity when we look at the news and social media and everything. I've been talking with a couple business owners and like tech people, like from Calgary, and like there's actually quite a bit of money coming there. Like, there's actually bigger companies and stuff investing there and stuff, and it's really interesting to see. Like, hey, like obviously we have doom and gloom, but there is good things happening out there, and there's a lot of tech companies coming to Calgary right now.
I sure hope it's not. Like, what are your thoughts on being able to invite businesses to come? The only way they'll do it is if we give large grants and
Yeah, and that's
tax
I mean, I
breaks.
hope that's yeah, and that's like I hope that's not why a lot of these are more just for the space and like the type of people and it's a affordable housing market. Like what some companies are looking is like where should we be putting our massive hub? Like let's say, hey, yeah, we want to be in Vancouver downtown. Well, most of our employees can't even live here. Like how is this going to work? Or we have to pay them ludicrous salaries.
Yeah, I'm surprised then if that's the case. Why not put your tech hub in like Regina or Winnipeg?
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
way
I think
cheaper there.
it still needs to have some city to it where
Yeah,
it's
yeah, where
obviously
people actually want to move there, right? Okay.
yeah, I mean, I don't. Alberta's not my favorite place, but like I would live in Calgary. You got the mountains not far away. Like it is. There's pros and cons there.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Regina is pretty much cons to me.
Yeah, it's just flat land and it's just wheat and potash and
Yeah.
that's it. So here is a interesting chart. This detailing Canada as our industrial implosion. Now, we've long talked about how our resources and manufacturing, the industrial industry has paled or lagged behind the US. And of course, we always compare against the US because there are big brother down south. Now, here's a
Yeah.
graph that details how our industry has been. Um, there's kind of some line here that got drawn here when the Liberals formed government. What year was that? 2015 when Trudeau took power.
Yeah.
We were kind of pretty close to the U.S. in terms of industrial. There was some decline nearing the end of Harper's reign, but we were not far. But take a look at how far we've dropped with the whole, I don't know, EV mandate, climate change mandate, all that stuff. And, all these philosophical ideals have kind of run our country, like has kind of destroyed our industrial. Um,
Well,
um,
our industry, Alex, has been banking and real estate. That's where, and I mean
yeah,
that is like what I really and you can see it's 2008, 2009. Previously, we'd always kind of had cycles, been more in par with US going from 1985 on here. It really is what happened in 2008, 2009. Like the US really adjusted. They're like, hey, you know what? Like, I mean, yes, they did, but banks also still got off the hook, but they realize like we have to be doing other stuff than just real estate. Real estate cannot be the only thing that brings our company money or our country, sorry. And like that's really when you see these charts, when we look at all them prices and everything, the US to me just adjusted much better back then. Canada, you could say, hey, we didn't have a massive crash, but we also did nothing to bring more business to Canada. It's like, hey, we brought a lot of people to buy homes.
Yeah, and like I'm not blaming people, but when you're like when someone is thinking of starting a business and they have all this capital invest, but the alternative is you just put money down on a pre-sale and you'll make 150 grand in a year or two without doing anything. That seems a lot more attractive than just starting a
Oh,
business,
I'm
putting all
part
your
of
eggs
business.
and risk and
Hell,
yeah. So I can see why a lot of people did it, which is kind of explained. That was kind of the speculation bubble. How the whole onset of asset prices increasing, foreign money coming in, and treating honestly just a laundering haven or offshore money parking their money here, all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, this kind of shows too, alongside the whole, net zero stuff that our industrial industry is kind of cratered. Now, here is a report from National Bank that's commenting on this, and I'm quoting here. The divergence with the US is nothing short of appalling. How did we get here? Years of excessive regulation and chronic lack of ambition by successive governments in promoting domestic transformation of our natural resources, recently made worse by Washington's protectionist agenda. That failure has eroded Canada's manufacturing base and left us at risk of becoming irrelevant in global supply chains. So,
yep.
I mean, this is not new to you and I, but when the banks recognize it, when industry recognize it, um, it's great that Carney and the Liberals signed a MOU with Alberta, but talk is cheap. Do something like actually break ground and no, like don't talk about hey we've this and
Yeah, I
that
mean,
we're
they're
agreement.
talking again. That's and we're very good at talking in Canada, but nothing seems to happen, and that's where even that like just not even going to more countries, market like again, we're not trying to diversify, and we're not obviously really repairing the relationship down south, and so it's like, well, where are we going to bring our economy? Like, what are we going to do? Either we need to find more places to sell things, or hey, we need to be doing it all in Canada.
100%, 100%. So I mean, we talk about more jobs, be more productive. The latest here on jobs here, um, are you a gamer, Alex?
I mean, I used to play more when I was younger. Honestly, the what I've been doing is I've started playing Minecraft with my son, and it's so that's been something that we've been doing together.
Yeah. So this is a popular game maker, Ubisoft. Um,
Yep.
they closed their Halifax studio, and
Yep.
by doing that, it cuts 71 jobs. Now, I'm gonna I'm gonna detail how this all played out. Now, this might ring a bell how this all played out. In December, the employees formed the company's first union in North America. Yay! 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 Unionize. Well, how the company responded? They closed the office in January. Is there a similar story that kind of rings a bell, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, the Amazon Quebec fulfillment. Now, this is where, and I mean, I used to be in a union. I'm not like a diehard union person. I understood it. I mean, I never liked the union mindset of I come in at 7, I get my first coffee, I work a little bit, I got my next break, I work. I, these unions are meant to protect us. Like these were what they were done, but obviously, I mean, they can't even protect from the company just firing everyone. So it's like what benefit did that have? Now it also sucks. Now this obviously scares people of like, hey, do not unionize. But like when then how are you letting companies dictate? But obviously, like 71 people aren't going to change it. They needed everyone in the company to get on board to be like, hey, if we don't do this, we're not working for you. Where they're like, ah, you know what? 71 of you, we can find somewhere else.
Yeah, I can see. Like, I mean, you're right. The reason why you unionize unions work is there to protect employees from exploitation. I would see it working in manufacturing businesses, manufacturing, industrial, where you have tough labor conditions and it's hard, like union can protect you in there. It's not all of a sudden these oil companies or these manufacturing can just pick up and go elsewhere because, oh, they're unionizing. Screw you. We're going to, you know, bring our smelt somewhere else, or we're going to, mine somewhere else. It's not that easy. I can see it being successful in manufacturing, industrial. Um, in these kind of other ones where workers are kind of dime a dozen, you can be found anywhere.
Yep.
Yeah, I could see it not being working that well in um, the software, tech, Amazon
Yeah.
fulfillment, those kind of things.
And I mean, I'd be interested to know, like, was it a few people that really want it, were like gung ho, like this is gonna help us? And I mean, I hope they're not sitting there now and like, well, shit, we now don't have a job, which is super sad. And yes, it's 71 people. It's not horrible, but we're gonna see more and more of this now. With this being video games, it also could have been like, hey, was it because they started a union? No, it also could be like, hey, AI is taking over certain things. That part of the arm may just not be that much work there now, and so there's other stuff to it. It's just it's a very easy story to connect the dots.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the video game industry is very much like software, where out here in the Lower Mainland, we have the biggest game maker, Electronic Arts. They have a campus by BCIT in Burnaby, and I can't imagine them unionizing, because if they were unionize it, they would not be as profitable, lay off people, and they'll just move elsewhere. That kind of thing. The same thing with, yeah, like IT and tech and software companies. They're looking for the bottom line and looking more for um, yeah, I can see unions working if you have one of those, um, I wouldn't say like rare things that can't be moved. Like it has to be done here, and you want to protect workers from exploitation. So,
Let's go into, I mean, let's talk about housing markets, the demographic, like where is the most unaffordable housing market? And I mean, we this is the one that we always know, that Hong Kong, it is the most expensive place out in the world. And that's where, like, again, we have to remember, we all compare, yes, Vancouver, Toronto, like Canada's expensive. There is way more expensive places than where we live. It's just we all live in our own kind of our own bubble and everything. But I mean, you got Hong Kong, you got Sydney, Australia. And then this one does surprise me, is San Jose. Like that one being the third, actually. Surprising me a little bit that it's up there. And then you got Vancouver and Los Angeles. Vancouver being number four. I believe that. I just would have thought Los Angeles would have been the higher US place, actually.
yeah, it's funny. Like historically, we've always been in the top three in Vancouver. It's always Hong Kong, Sydney, and us. Now, San Jose, I can see that, but I mean, unaffordable. I've always thought San Jose is like, yeah, the prices are high, but Silicon Valley, those guys are making like 250 or whatever US, and they're not even like high level employees. They're like entry level or mid level engineers and stuff. I'm like, dang, yes, it's expensive, but your demographic, per capita salary is higher. So I am surprised that San Jose has creeped up there. And if you do see this trend on, see this list on social here, yes, a lot of US ones. Honolulu, it is pretty high because I mean, my wife and I, we visit Hawaii all the time, or not all the time, but a few times, and the old proverbial, "Hey, wouldn't that be cool to retire here?" And then we realize Honolulu is
Exactly.
hella expensive, right?
Yeah.
And it's not just housing; it's all the goods and services needs to be imported, like gasoline. My goodness,
I mean, it's still cheaper than Canada, though, man. Like,
is it?
oh yeah, their fuel, and go to Costco in Honolulu. It's cheaper than where we live.
Okay,
If you compared it to other places in the U.S., it's way more expensive.
yeah.
But compared to our prices, it's still cheaper.
Yeah, I talked to my wife about it, and she's like, Honolulu, Hawaii sounds great, but it's still only an island that gets exposed to, like, what if there's a tsunami, and like if there was an earthquake in somewhere, and then it creates a tsunami, and we're exposed on the island. I'm like, yeah, I see that. So maybe Hawaii is great to visit, great to vacation, maybe not live. But yeah,
It's
like
funny. I bet you every couple that goes out when they travel, they're like, "Ooh, I could stay here." And I bet you everyone goes to realtor like, "Oh shit, no, maybe I'm not going to live here."
I would like to hear from the audience. Every time you go on vacation, how often do you think, how much does real estate cost here? I'm sure everyone, like, you do it. I know we do
Oh yeah.
it. And I know my brother-in-law, every like when we travel together in Mexico, he's always like, we were like over and under. How long will it take? My brother-in-law's name's Matt. How long will it take Matt to find out how much? Let's buy a place here. We're all like, okay, I give it 2 hours, and others like 3 hours, 4 hours by the end of the day. And then usually we have like some riding bet. I'm like, yeah, he's always looking. So I mean, we all do it. We're all curious, right? Um, but funny on this list here, Australia is appearing a lot on this list.
Yeah,
Um,
U.S. and Australia,
yeah,
it's up there.
yeah. So the highest ones, yeah, Sydney, Adelaide, Melbourne, Brisbane, and Perth. Now, Australia and Canada, our economies are very similar in terms on how like our currency is like it's only off by like maybe 5%, I think, and our regulations are very similar. So it's kind of sad too. Like Australia's been
Now again, I totally this I'm rereading this now, and we're talking about the world's most unaffordable housing here. I'm not in my head. I'm like, oh, we're talking about where the most expensive is. I mean, a lot of these places are the most expensive, but again, a lot of these are just because there's people that don't like Vancouver. There are people that are working at Starbucks and they're
yeah,
living there. They're never going to buy a house,
yeah,
and that's the big thing here. And Australia's definitely felt that same pressure as we've had, especially in BC. Home prices are just exorbitant, and yes, if you're well off, you're able to get a place. But if you're not, it's very unaffordable.
yeah. The unaffordable, what we mean is the per capita, like the relative income per average home there. Like, what we've
And
established
that's
here.
why I was thinking just the most expensive places.
Oh yeah, well the most expensive is probably Dubai or something or Monaco or
Well, that's why I was like New York's on here. I'm like, why the hell is San Jose up there? But now
yeah,
my brain is retuned, and yes,
yeah,
these I mean these are all still expensive places, but it's also where people just can't afford.
yeah,
Now
exactly.
this is, I mean, we obviously had a lot of restaurants that closed due to COVID, and it just never is really to me recuperate. A lot of companies and people just, for one, employees don't want to work there in some cases, and now 7,000 restaurants were forced to close in 2025. I would say this is due to inflation and the crashing economy. I'd be interested to know like what happens with tariffs. Has like cost for them gone up in certain areas? What's happening there? I mean, whenever I go downtown Vancouver, Alex, or like even Victoria, like the amount of people that are out to me is like crazy. Obviously, like you're taking one area, but like I don't like I have money, but I'm not gonna go out like that and just waste hundreds and hundreds of dollars, but other people are. And so obviously some restaurants are not feeling it and others are.
Yeah, I my wife and I went out on a date night on Saturday. We went to Cactus Club. And so we had our regular thing. We had an appies, drinks, main, and a dessert. Our bill came to with tip was about 160. And that's just for the two of us. That's a lot. We can't do that all the time. And thankfully, like the only reason we went out was we had gift cards. We're like, shoot, we got gift cards. And then, I'm not plugging Cactus, but like there's a period where there's a promotion where you buy $100 gift card, they give you a $15 bonus card. So we had that. Um, but yeah, if it was by ourselves and we paid that out of our own pocket, I ain't splurging like that. It was just
I mean,
like,
I see the thing, like I'm so different. Like I wouldn't splurge on that, but like sushi is like my kryptonite, and I'll spend $100 on sushi easily. But I would not go spend $100 on a steak. I just
oh,
I could cook a steak at home. I don't really care. Where like sushi, it's a easy at least once a month thing. Like no questions.
speaking of which, steaks, we don't even buy steaks anymore. Like you're right. A lot of this is food costs too. Like people have like, we talked about how inflation in food has exceeded the regular inflation, but it's almost like, how there's this kind of like oligopoly where the suppliers have jacked up the food prices just because they say they can, and then they're pocketing the profits. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, geez, like I've said this before, you go to the keg, you just get like a 6-ounce sirloin. It's like $52. And
Yeah.
steaks, even you buy at Costco or wherever, it's like 25, $30. We don't buy those things anymore. It's like if you were to have it, honestly, it would be a treat. Um,
And that's
so
it. I used to be like, especially buying steaks. I used to like, I would buy the cheapest looking little steak. I do now. If I am going to get a steak, I will actually buy a nicer steak. But like, yeah, I mean, buying a steak for me is $20, and that's expensive. But I mean, I remember back in the day, I was buying the $6 steaks. Whatever was the skinniest and the cheapest, that's what I was buying.
yeah, even when we're cooking ourselves, we used to buy chicken breasts, like the whole chicken breast, right? Boneless chicken breasts. A pack of like 8 or 9 used to be about, geez, like $18, $19. That same pack now is 30, 35. It's almost double. So now we made small adjustments. We don't buy chicken breast anymore. We buy chicken thighs. Now the
Yeah.
chicken thighs have more fat to it, but because we're Asian, we cook a lot of stir fry, so we cut up the chicken. We find that the fat actually helps with the flavor too. So those are little things that we've had to
I
adjust.
like chicken thighs more than chicken breast myself.
Yeah.
It
Yeah, because it's more moist and all that stuff. Because chicken breast, unless you're having like the whole chicken breast, I mean, it's a little drier. But yeah, that's
I mean, I think
that's
you
how it
like
is.
the big one I find, especially at Costco, the inflation, like they never really have increased the prices there. But what Costco does a lot is they shrink. They shrink the pack.
Absolutely.
Good.
Yes.
And the big one is we used to buy is the like you get the rice and meat and the like the peppers. Those used to be a one full pepper, full of meat, full of rice. They cut that in half, and so you only get half a pepper, half of it, but the price is the same.
Yes. Because they do studies on it, right? They do sales, like
Oh yeah.
what is the amount people can bear. So
Yep.
let's say, meals are like, those prepackaged meals are $15 now. Then costs have gone up and people aren't willing to spend more than
Reduce the food
$15.
amount.
It was reduce the food amount. You're right. You're right. It's like we've
And
noticed
that's
the
like
inflation.
just for doing like $1 to them is like millions, like because they're doing so much of it. That's where like I remember back in the day, McDonald's when they switched for like stopped handing out napkins or something, like it saved millions of dollars. It's just the marketing and what they're looking at is on a completely different level than what we see on a daily basis.
Yeah, 100%. Well, we shift gears here. We did talk about Trump. We have to touch into it now. He invaded, or I guess, somehow pulled some military operation in occupying Venezuela now. Well, it's coming back to bite him a little bit, Alex. I mean, we all know the goal is to take over oil and to, just to, uh, I guess, give him a cheaper option or a better option to get oil. Not relying on Canada, not relying on Saudi Arabia. Well, guess what's happening? Major oil companies are not interested in making significant investments in Venezuela, per the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said. Now, Trump is looking for 100 billion, but the Exxon boss, says that Venezuela is uninvestable. I mean, it costs anywhere from 60 to 150 billion to replace their infrastructure, which is like 50 years old. And how long, like we talked about, how long will it take to um, bring their infrastructure to modern day? Like it would take 10 years, wouldn't it? And so companies like Exxon and Chevron or whoever, they're not willing to do it. So
Yeah. No, and that's I mean, I like as soon as I heard it, like yes, I see there's a little bit on the oil. I believe it's on the minerals. And if they put news like oil in the headlines, like honestly, they probably love that. It is going to be companies going in there for the minerals, which for one is going to be devastating for Venezuela, like the labor, just like not good. Like it's not going to be good that way whatsoever. And that's where this money's going. And yeah, they're not going to go invest $100 billion to try and get some oil out of it where they're going to be doing other things.
yeah, I mean, this kind of makes Trump look like an idiot now. Don't you think?
I mean, we're just like in a really like just it sometimes feels like we're in a movie. Like sometimes you watch a movie and you're like, this could never happen. This would never happen in real life. Like that feels like this is what like the world we're in right now. Talking about Greenland, talking about everything. Like it's just it is it's a different time.
Yeah.
Our last one we're going to finish off here is with BC. It's always fine this time, especially right after Christmas. Everyone gets their BC assessments. I remember back in the day, like no one even knew what a BC assessment was. It like you get in the mail, like, oh, what's this thing? Now everyone is up on it, especially when home prices were going up. And now it's more on the downside, depending on the area you at. And it's the BC government has now dropped its threshold for its homeowners grant program. Assessed home value saw a decrease of up to 10% in Metro Vancouver, and the threshold set at 2.075 million this year is down from the 4.6 of 2.175 last year. And it's just, yeah, most places I think in the Vancouver area, like, can I ask Alex, like, did your what happened to your property? Did you see on the BP assessment?
Yeah, mine went down 4.5% ish,
Yeah.
which is yeah, it's kind of about right based on how other places have sold or not sold. Yeah, um, my in-laws, they own in Maple Ridge. Yeah, they're about 4%. My parents in Vancouver, they dropped a little bit, not quite, probably about 2%, something like that. Yours probably went up, right? How did yours fare?
Yeah, it only went up like 1%, but ours is like like my BC assessment value is not what the market value might, and that's it used to be, especially in BC, that BC assessment was lower, market value was quite a bit higher. In Vancouver, it's now more like the BC assessment may actually be right, or it might actually be high.
Yeah, yeah. I think we're at a period now in the Lower Mainland that BC assessment it's about right because
Mm.
our market's been kind of flat. So we've been kind of like the BC assessment is based on July 1st, 2025. So it is a 6 month lag, but the market hasn't really done anything in 6 months.
No,
Um,
yeah,
so
yeah, that's
um,
ours. Yeah, I think both the three places I have, they all went up by like 1.5%.
yeah. Well, folks, this kind of wraps up our show. Alex, what do you got on docket this week?
What do we got going on this week? I bought a new e-bike. So my plan is I'm trying to get on biking more. It's very wet. I went out yesterday and holy smokes, I got really wet, but yeah, I'm excited. It was fun. It was getting muddy. I'm like, you know what? This is awesome. Then I got really cold. I was like, shit, okay, I want to go home to the hot tub now.
Oh my gosh. E-bike that you're not exercising. It's basically like a glorified moped. Like you could
I want to go biking downhill. I'm not doing it for the exercise. I want to go downhill and I don't like pedaling up.
so I mean, how much are e-bikes these days? Are they like 5 to 10 grand or depending on
It's expensive. It's
okay.
yeah, it was there was a price tag to it. It's
Okay.
right bit, and I did got a great deal from a company here in my town, and
Okay.
it's
How what's the range on your e-bike or the battery like?
I
Did
think
they
it can
say?
go like this one can go like 4 to 5 hours. Like if you were to like to push it and stuff. I mean, my hope is to be able to go on for like an hour ride, and instead of it taking 3 hours, I can do it in an hour.
Okay. What's the max speed can it hit?
I don't really know. I mean, I think you can get up to like anywhere from 30 to 40 kilometers. Like,
Okay.
obviously, I mean,
Oh,
you can pedal as fast as you want.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
this is like a e-assist. So like you have to pedal. The bike is not going to go without you pedaling. I'm
Yeah.
not I'm not just sitting there. "Rah." It's you still do have
Yeah, I see people with that. I'm like, what's the point of a bike if you're not gonna pedal? Like you're just
well, you don't need a license and you also don't need insurance.
yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah, for me this
To be
week.
honest, I mean, I'm more jealous of you.
Oh yes. So folks, you notice I'm wearing a Seahawks hat here, cheering for my team. Uh getting all in on the Seahawks this week, listening to pods and stuff. I'm a Canucks fan, but man, the team's terrible. I've actually checked out. I've stopped listening to the podcast. I don't even bother watching the games anymore. So yeah, but yeah, thanks folks. Thanks for listening to the show. Um, Alex, I've been talking about this. We were thinking of lining up some guests coming up here. We talked about shooting our shot. We're gonna do our latest shoot of the shot. I'm not gonna give it away because it could very well be nothing. Um, but yeah, excited for how the pod is going to turn out this year. And folks, on behalf of Alex Shanks, I'm Alex Pang. Thanks for tuning in to episode 70 of the Canadian Mortgage Show. We'll see you next time.
Now, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, make sure to follow us. Please give us a 5-star rating. You can even send us an email because we want to know what you guys want to hear about. That's what we're here for. Reach out anytime.